All right, 9th and 10th grade, I'm going to go over your history assignment for this upcoming week. Just real quick, I want to explain the intro thoughts as well as the material for each chapter. And so obviously last week we looked at chapter 29, which had to do with the events leading up to World War I, or the causes of World War I. This week we're going to be looking at World War I. All right, so we're going to be discussing the key events, key players, and eventually some of like the fallout and results from World War I. So the first thoughts, just kind of introducing the chapter here. World War I lasted from 1914 to 1918. It began as a local European conflict between Austro-Hungary and Serbia on July 28, 1914, all right? But it was eventually transformed into a general European war by the declaration of war made by Germany against Russia, all right, on August 1st, 1914. These intermingled conflicts eventually became a global war involving 32 nations. So it started small, and then more and more people began to get involved. It grew to the point that you had 32 different nations, 28 of which known as the Allies and the associated powers, and these included the Great Britain, France, Russia, Italy, and the United States, opposed the coalition known as the Central Powers, consisting of Germany, Austro-Hungary, Turkey, and Bulgaria. All right, so in Chapter 30, we're going to begin with an overview of World War I, and then we will examine one specific battle. And this is the battle that caused almost 500,000 British casualties. All right, next we will examine the Air War and its strategic importance, and finally examine the life of Winston Churchill, a great Englishman who we shall meet again in subsequent chapters. So as a result of this chapter, you should be able to discuss World War I. You need to analyze this battle we'll discuss, talk about the emerging Air War, and evaluate the impact of Winston Churchill. So lesson 1, is just an overview of the war itself. Just a couple of key components, key individuals, and then you'll have your assignment question here. Lesson 2 would be discussing this battle. And then number 3, this one will be exciting. It's the Royal Flying Corps. All right, and so talking about the Air Force arm of the Army, since there was no separate Air Force branches of the Army until after World War II, gained great strategic importance in World War I. Things like hot air balloons were actually used during this war. So actually going to be a pretty exciting chapter for you all. And then lesson 4 will be Winston Churchill, discussing who he was and his impact on the world. So you know the drill. You'll need to read through each of these 4 chapters, fill out the chapter questions at the end of each one, and then you'll need to fill out your quiz questions as well. I sent that file with all of those pages in your email last week, so you should still have it. Just go back to that email, and you'll be able to download any of the worksheets that you need for the material this week. All right, so if you run into problems, let me know. I'm happy to be available and help you in any way I can, but I trust that you all know what you're doing. So get it done, get it turned in.